All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin this video by giving the praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Quadash, the modesty apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Lord's elect, beginning with the 144,000. This is a Ratazah, once again, from the Great Millstone GMS Atlanta camp, with another quick video. All right, I got another article I wanted to respond to in this video. An article comes from cbsnews.com. All right, you see the headline. It says Harvard scientist believes interstellar comet could be alien aircraft. Quote, we should put all possibilities on the table. All right, this is an article that brothers have posted. May have seen other brothers do videos on it as well. It's been circulating around. This article goes back to July 30th. 2025, and it's on different news sites or whatever, but I just thought the headline and the story in general was spiritual. And you know, we hear about these things from time to time. You saw his scientists like NASA and all of that, which we take all of that information with a grain of salt, because we know that we pretty much know how this devil get down when it comes to certain things and all things in general. So we take it with a grain of salt, but when these particular topics arise, okay, we know that it's spiritual. We know that the Lord is coming from the heaven. He's coming from an aerial position, as the scriptures prophesied that there is going to be a UFO invasion. All right, and it's a plethora of scriptures, okay, that go into that, how the Lord is going to return to bring war to the nations, to bring war to the earth, okay, to bring fire to the earth, to bring judgment. And how he's going to arrive is via these, as they would call it, quote unquote, alien crafts or spacecrafts. And they say that is they was basically tracking it or whatever, and it's like an object moving through space at light speed, you know. And I immediately thought of Isaiah the 19th chapter, which I have that up right here. Lord willing, I'll read it in a second. But I just wanted to just read the article, a little bit of it. They have a video here, but I'm not going to play it. I'm going to just read. It's a pretty short article. It's not long, but I'll read a little bit of it. It says, scientists are watching a newly discovered object in space, and most of them agree it's a comet, but not all of them. Harvard scientist, who believes he's seen proof of alien life before, suspects this object may instead have alien origins. This is Professor Avi Loeb, if I'm saying his name correctly. It said there are clear signs that the comet known as 3I Atlas could be an alien craft. It says, quote, we should put all possibilities on the table, that it's a rock, a comet, or something else until we get the evidence, the data that will tell us what it is, end quote. Loeb said in an interview with WBZ-TV. This is Professor Loeb and his team say that this stellar object is on an extremely unusual course for a comet, one that will take it close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. This is Loeb said the object appears to be, quote, intelligently directed, and if it is alien, the world should prepare. All right. So you're reading that again. All right. Reading these particular things, our minds, go back to the scriptures. All right. It says it appears to be intelligently directed, as if this object knows where it's supposed to be going. And then he said the world should prepare. Right. So we know that that particular object is not based upon the timeline, based upon the prophecy. We know that's not Yahushua that's actually speeding towards the earth currently, but again, just the wording of it is heavy, man. It goes right with the prophecies, and the fact that he even mentioned that it was the part that going back to his quote, he says we should put all possibilities on the table, that it's a rock. All right, we know that the Lord is referred to as a rock many times in the scriptures. In particular, what comes to mind, I think that's what Daniel's the second chapter, which speaks about the dream that the king of Babylon had. He said he saw a statue which represent the various kingdoms that ruled, and it said that it was a stone or a rock that was cut out of a mountain, and it flew and it hit the statue, and the statue fell. That's talking about the Lord. See? So it's all spiritual, as brothers say, man. It's all spiritual. Then it goes on, it says blind date from a visitor. It says, quote, I think that when we have a blind date from a visitor from another star, all bets are off, said Loeb. We shouldn't assume anything, and we should assess the risk given the data that we have. It says Loeb said the risk should be assessed using something like the Richter scale for earthquakes. It says 0 would be a natural object like a comet, Loeb said. 10 would be an object that maneuvers as if it has an engine that is definitely technological, and then there should be some policy makers deciding how to respond to that. All right. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, they're monitoring these things and whatnot, but we know that Esau, like I say, you take everything he says with pertaining to the heavens and science with a grain of salt. But nonetheless, yeah, man, we know that the Lord, according to prophecy, is coming from an aerial position with his chariot. Matter of fact, let me get that. This it just came to mind. The old faithful Isaiah 66 and verse 15. All right, and it says, Isaiah 66 and 15, it says, for behold, the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind. All right, the chariots of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai are the so-called UFOs, or as these scientists are speaking about, quote-unquote, alien crafts or the alien spacecrafts. That's how the Lord's going to return. It says to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So flames of fire, the Lord's going to return in the midst of World War III, which is going to entail a lot of nuclear fire, right? Nuclear missiles. And then the chariots, all right, or these quote unquote spacecraft, they also shoot fire. Okay. Verse 16, it says, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So a lot of people are going to die, okay, via the return of the only begotten Son, right? The return of our Lord Yahweh Shai. And his name is Yahweh Shai, right? It's not Jesus Christ, like some Hebrew Israelite camps would teach how you to believe. No, he has a Hebrew name. All right, and that's who's returning to the earth for judgment. The slain of the Lord shall be many. It's going to be a high casualty rate. All right. So yeah, that's the chariots. Okay, let's continue on. Let's go to jump back here. Let's go to Jeremiah 4 and 7. All right, and just to clarify, I believe this particular verse is really referring to the king of Babylon back then, when the Babylonians ran down on Israel, in particular the land of Judah. So there's really a prophecy concerning the Babylonians conquering or coming against our people back then in ancient world during the time of Jeremiah and whatnot. But you can align this with the Lord too, because the Lord is also known as the lion. All right, so I just want to just clarify that. But anyway, this is Jeremiah 4 and 7. Right, you see this. See, it says Judah Judah threatened with invasion. Right, this is just when the Babylonians ran down on Jake back then. But applying the wording of it, you can apply it to the second coming of the Lord now. All right, so it's Jeremiah 4:7. It says the lion, right, which the Lord is known as the lion as well, has come up from his thicket, which I believe a thicket is like a bush. It says, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is going forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy city shall be laid waste without inhabitant. Right. You can apply this to hell, the modern day Babylon, all right, which we know to be of America. So as you can see, the wording of it, you can apply directly to the Lord. All right, he's the lion is coming back and to go to war with these nations, okay, which is essentially the natural Gentiles. And it says what? To make that land desolate, which you can apply to America, because America is going to be a desert. All right, after the return and after the nuclear war that's going to take place. And it says that city shall be laid waste without inhabitant, which we know according to Isaiah the 13th chapter, as well as in Revelation 18 speaks about Babylon being a desert, how it's not going to have any inhabitants no more. All right, and it goes on and says, for this gird you with sackcloth, lament and howl, for the fierce anger of the Lord is not turned back from us. Right, so back then, this is when the Most High was pronouncing judgment against Israel for being wicked. And the same thing's happening, it's going to happen again today. Right, you got wicked Israelites, wicked Jakes back on the earth, who the Lord's going to visit. He's going to bring judgment to. All right. So yeah, that lion's on his way. All right. Esau's tracking. We know that's actually not Yahweh Shai in the spacecraft, based upon prophecies. We know other prophecies have to take place, but nonetheless, the Lord is coming from an aerial, heavenly place. All right. To what? Bring judgment. All right, so that's that. Let's keep going. Isaiah, all right, the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 1. You see it says message to Egypt, which we understand and know that modern day Egypt is America. Okay, Egypt from the Hebrew meaning double straits. Also, when you read the book of Exodus, Egypt was known as the house of bondage. So America today is the house of bondage to our people, the Israelites. Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. So, as Isaiah 19 verse 1, it says the burden of Egypt, or the prophecy of Egypt. It says, behold, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai rideth upon a swift cloud. All right, what's the swift cloud referring to? It's referring to a spaceship or a UFO. It says, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart or the mind of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. See, that is a future prophecy concerning the Lord returning to the earth, all right, known as the second coming, to what? Come into Egypt, to come into America, to essentially break this place down. All right, like we read in Isaiah the 47th chapter, that speaks about the Lord's not going to meet thee as a man, an angelic entity, an angelic power, force. All right, so it says the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, meaning a fast moving vessel. All right, or fast ship, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Right? Yeah, the mind, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the wisdom of this place. All right, everything's going to fail when the Lord comes. All right, everything's going to fail. Everything's going to collapse. And only Yahweh Shem Shai, his counsel, and his truth is going to stand. He's going to bring judgment. He's going to bring order to the earth. All right, and then it goes on, of course, says, now it said the Egyptians against the Egyptians, they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. There's going to be division all throughout the earth, in particular here in America, because that's the Egyptians that's talking about. All right, you Americans today are the spiritual modern day Egyptians, and that's what you see is division. Okay, you got the liberals against the conservatives, you got the Democrats against Republicans. People have various views on politics and ways of life. You know, so these people are divided, man. We know the scriptures speak about where it says the kingdom divided shall not stand. See, it also says, what if Satan be divided against Satan? So this place is literally a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. All right, then it goes on more, but that was the point about the swift cloud, man. That's talking about the Lord. All right, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, the Lord's going to send Yahweh Shai, send his son to the earth as prophesied. This is just one of, as I said earlier, one of several scriptures that go into that. All right, here go another one. I might end off on this. I can get more, but just want to hit the main point. So this is the book of Acts. All right, so we're going to jump ahead here. Acts chapter 1 and get to the point. Acts chapter 1 verse 9. Right, so this is the Lord when he's speaking to the when he was speaking to the disciples just before he or this is after he rose, after he resurrected. He dwelt with them for, I believe, a period of 40 days. All right, he stayed with them for a period of time, and then he went back to the heavens. But what it says here, all right, as you see, it says the ascension. So Acts 1 and 9 says, and when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Right, the cloud again is referring to the so-called UFO. All right, so in certain scriptures, when you read the word cloud, depending on what it's talking about an actual a spaceship. Okay, so when he was talking with the disciples, all right, the Lord, he was talking to them when he finished his sayings. All right, a chariot or UFO appeared, and he essentially got beamed up. All right, in verse 10 it says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by white apparel. Right, these essentially two angels. All right, there's the point. Verse 11 it says, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahweh Shai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. See that? So that they basically were prophesying. They're saying, look, the same way you've seen him go up is the same way he's going to return. Meaning what? He's going to return from aerial stance, all right, from aerial heavenly position in a so-called UFO or quote-unquote cloud, as it says here. See? So there you go. All right. So when we see these particular stories get posted like this, excuse me, with these scientists saying different things about it's a comet or it's a meteorite coming to Earth. All right, we take it as a spiritual nugget or a spiritual token, letting us know that the Lord is on his way, man. We read in these few scriptures here. All right. So yeah, you know, I'm gonna leave it off there. All right, so we'll just bring out a couple of scriptures on that, couple points on this particular story. All right, Lord willing, you was edified. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Racha Kodash. And Lord willing, to the next video, I'm gonna say Shalom.